Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the... I almost said Elements of Great Adventure. We have too many podcasts!
This isn't Dungeons and Dragons.
Welcome back. Well, we will be talking about Dungeons and Dragons today a little bit, but this is the Nerds Only podcast. You're here with your hairiest host, Mother Goose.
And you're here with the nerdiest nerd, Josiah Cosmar. Name.
You take that back. You know it's me. You can't take that from me. It's my only thing.
There's like one meme where it's like among the blank, I'm the blankiest, or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways.
God gave you abs, okay? You can't take this from me.
I worked for those abs.
Yeah, you did. You did. Okay, well, we got a few topics that we are going to be talking about today, but I think let's just start with most recent, most topical. The new Fortnite update just dropped a couple days ago, at least at the time of that we're recording this. Have you had a chance to play it yet?
I haven't. I haven't played a ton of Baldur's Gate, but I do know that you've been playing it, so I'm interested to see. You said it was pretty good.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of my favorite seasons in a while. Like, Battle Pass-wise, I feel like it's pretty solid, which I feel like the last few have been kind of... there have been some good skins, some okay skins that I'll probably never use. But gameplay-wise, this season has been phenomenal. They've added a couple new weapons, specifically guns, that I've really enjoyed. They've brought some old ones back that have been really good. But they've also added a lot of Marvel-themed... The Battle Pass theme, it's all Marvel skins or skins themed around Marvel. Like, there's a Kylee Wolverine skin. So a lot of the mythic weapons are now Marvel weapons. So we have Doctor Doom's gauntlets, which has two different explosive options. We have Captain America's shield, which can be used to block bullets or to launch it at people. But there's also a War Machine's arsenal, which comes with a jetpack, an auto turret, and gloves that have like an SMG mode and a rocket mode. When you have multiple of these items on, it is insane. You are so powerful.
That sounds crazy. A lot of options. Sounds super cool, though.
Yeah. It's really overpowered and definitely needs some balancing. I would say if I have like the jetpack Captain America shield combo, the only time I've ever died or lost a game is because I lost to somebody using the same combo.
I see. Are these weapons pretty easy to find, or are they pretty rare?
They are incredibly common. Way more common than they should be.
Oh, that's funny.
And I know for sure they're going to be adding some more as the season goes on. For sure, the Iron Man gauntlets, which I think we saw in the Nexus War. I think that was Chapter 2, Season 4, I believe. And then we're getting a Black Panther item, which I don't know much about it, but it looks good. And I'm kind of hoping we'll see some of the other items come back. I doubt it will, but like Magneto's gauntlets from last season, I mean, it's a Marvel season. There's no reason for them not to put them back in.
Yeah, that's... how many Marvel people have there been before other than Magneto?
There have been quite a few. I mean, there's been an official... Like, wait, I'm sorry. Are you talking skins or actual items?
Actual items.
That's a tough one. For sure, Iron Man's gauntlets. I think Captain America's shield has shown up before, but I'm not entirely sure. Maybe a form of Wolverine claws at some point.
Okay. Are most of the items in this new update new, or are they kind of a reoccurring?
I think most of them are new.
Very cool. So you think they might bring some from the past back, or what? How you feeling?
I hope so throughout the season. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I think it would make sense thematically.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Which, since last time, I also wanted to talk about this, that we talked about Fortnite. your opinions may or may not have changed.
Oh, oh man. So that was 2 years ago, huh?
It was,
last time I've
when
talked
we
about-
recorded. I think that was episode 3, I believe.
I think I was like hating on it hard, right? I was
Yeah.
like, this game's dumb, stupid game.
You literally said Epic Games made a deal with the devil.
I believe it. I still stand by that. No, I'm just joking. Nowadays, I think I see it for not for what it is, but like it's a lot more enjoyable when you just play the game as it's intended to be played.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think back then I was like, oh, this super hyped up game's supposed to be one of the greatest games of all time. In my opinion, it's not, but it's still a ton of fun. It's just not all of that. And I was like, but yeah, I think they've definitely, when they brought the OG Fortnite back for a little bit, I hopped on with my friends and that was a ton of fun. I think they've been doing really well with the game. I think they've been doing a good job with the updates. There seems to be a lot of care for this franchise. But yeah, no, I still feel like they might have signed a deal with Satan with how much people play that game.
At least Disney, and I mean, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, this is not a political show, but it's all kind of in the nerd realm. Moving to Disney, did you see that their spouse died, and I believe it was a husband, and so now their wife is trying to sue Disney, and they're trying to say that she can't sue them because he signed an agreement to get a Disney Plus free trial like 2 years ago.
I have heard of this. I think it's flipped. I think the wife died because
And
the
now
wife
the husband's suing.
Yeah, the wife had an extremely a severe allergic, some type of allergy that was very severe, and they had asked, at least from what I've heard, they've asked multiple times. We're like, hey, we need to make sure there's no whatever I'm allergic to in this because I could die from it. And the staff was like, okay. Sadly, she died from the allergic reaction. And then yes, I've heard 2 things. One, which is the main one, which is about the he signed the waiver for the Disney Plus 2 years ago on their free trial or whatever, and now so that means they can't sue him, which is so bad. What a horrendous thing to do.
Yeah.
And then the second is that people are saying, oh, while the establishment was in Disneyland, it wasn't owned by Disney, which doesn't make any sense.
Oh my god.
Which it may have just been a bait post. It may have been, yeah. But yeah, that whole situation is just Cyberpunk's becoming reality, bro. The corporations, the corporations are evil.
Anyway, we don't have to stay on it. I just, we were talking about Disney and the devil, and I was like, oh yeah, they're awful people. We should probably spread the news.
Oh man, yeah. If you don't know yet, Disney will not take responsibility for this.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on.
Well, let's we can kind of move forward from Fortnite. Maybe let's stay on video games, though. You had something you wanted to talk about.
So I got Baldur's Gate back when it kind of first came out and played with my friends for a little bit, but I picked it back up recently. Oh my goodness, dude. My praise isn't high enough for this game. I love it so much. Did you ever play Fire Emblem, Elijah?
I have, but I haven't gotten far into it. And that's something I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit today is just I love turn-based for like tabletop RPGs, but I'm not the biggest fan for actual video games, turn-based in video games. So I think that's kind of where you're going with the Fire Emblem, right?
The story itself is stellar. 10 out of 10. The characters feel so real. It's great. The conversations are awesome. But besides that, I just love the combat system because using D&D's classes with 4 slots, there's so much variance and change that if you ever get bored of how your combat's going, you can, trade out a barbarian for a wizard or something like that.
Yeah, and sorry, you're specifically talking about your party that you take on your adventure, right? Okay.
Yes. And you get to play a whole bunch of different classes, which the game lets you choose a different class at any time for some coin. But yeah, it's like Fire Emblem, but just something I have super high praise for is the interactive environment.
Yeah.
In every single encounter of combat, there's usually at least one environmental thing that makes it unique and so good. Just so good. The combat, the story, the voice acting, all of it. Just mwah. Game of the Year was deserved.
Yeah.
You got to play it.
Just for context for our listeners, how far into it have you made it? What act are you on?
I may still be on Act 1.
And you know what? That's okay. That's totally okay.
I've heard that it gets really good in Act 2, at least from my friends, that they're a little bit farther ahead of me, and they said the story really like takes off and makes the game really Game of the Year worthy. But even in Act 1 right now, just getting to talk and explore and how like interesting the combat and just the maps have just been so fun to go through. It really is. It's such an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a game everybody's got to at least try.
Yeah, for sure. Which the open world, the character creation, the story, the graphics, all of these things look super amazing. They make me want to play. It really is just the combat system that looks, again, I'm just not a big fan of turn-based combat in video games, and I know combat's a big part of the game, and so that's really been the big thing that's kind of stopped me.
What I say to that, I think you should try it because I know you also enjoy Magic the Gathering.
I do be enjoying some Magic the Gathering. Maybe a little too much.
What's so cool is just whenever you level up, you get to choose different things. And if you're smart about it, you can really synergize your magic items along with your abilities. Okay. And you can there's times when you level up and you have this certain magic item that, like, for a character named Gale, he has a sparkling rod or something like that. That has electrical charges. And then I'm having him wearing boots that whenever he gets electrical charges, he gets 5 health back. And there's a lot of room for synergy, and there's so much you could do with it. Fire Emblem is a very good strategic game, but it doesn't have a ton of... It has a little bit of variance with the different classes that you can do, like how you can level up your guys. Yeah. But Baldur's Gate just takes it to the next level to where it's so much more interesting and enjoyable. Okay. I would just try it. I know it can... At least looking at it, it's like, oh, this doesn't look that fun. When you're playing and getting to strategize and get into it, it is so good. So good.
Yeah. I might give it a try. I know we kind of talked about this a little bit with Cyberpunk 2077, and for listeners' context, not on the podcast, just between us. So if you're looking for a Cyberpunk episode, it's not out there, but maybe
Cyberpunk?
One day.
Yeah, who knows?
I know you romance Panam in Cyberpunk. Have you been romancing any characters in Baldur's Gate?
Right now I'm romancing Shadowheart because you know how it goes.
I've heard she's the classic. I'm pretty sure, at least from the stats I've seen, I think she's the most romanced character out of the game.
Yes, I think the developers intended for you to romance Shadowheart on your first playthrough because she's incredibly easy to romance respectfully. Yeah. But I kind of... I accidentally romanced this character named Gale because he was like teaching me how to use magic. Yeah. And then it was like, then suddenly you feel the night could get more intimate. And I'm like, whoa!
Not like that, Gale! Not like that!
I shut that down real quick. But
yeah,
go ahead.
That's something else I've heard about the game is that there are certain, not all, but there are certain characters where it's almost too easy to romance. And just like you said, you often accidentally romance characters you're not intending to.
Yeah, that is... The romancing's cool because you get to genuinely bond with these characters. But you're always bonding romantically. Like, it's never... Unless you shut it down, which you can... the option will pop up where it's like, do you want to take this further? And if you say no, then I think it's just cut off for the rest, and then you can just bond as friends. But in the first part, it's been a little bit weird of like, don't look at me like that. That's not what I'm going for. But listen, Elijah, if you play the game, don't romance the drow lady. Okay?
Don't. Okay.
So, okay, let me explain. Sorry.
Spoiler warnings, maybe, for
Spoiler-
anyone who's interested in romancing the drow.
There's this drow lady.
Does he turn into a drider?
She does not. But all you have to do is to kill some tieflings, and then you can romance her like that.
That's a requirement? Kill people?
Oh, you actually... Okay. I've learned you don't have to. You can actually just knock her unconscious and then meet her later in the game. Sadly, I didn't know this, so she's dead in my playthrough.
Gotcha.
But anyways, don't do it, Elijah. Don't... She's one of the hottest characters, okay? Don't do it.
But she makes you kill people. Yeah. The real moral conundrum.
Dang it.
Why is Murder Lady so hot?
Why is she so pretty? Surely she can't be evil. If
Kavira is a fascist, why is she so pretty, huh?
Evil people can't look... Evil people are ugly. They look ugly.
Okay, sorry, to kind of get us back on track here. What class and race did you pick? And then you said you mentioned that you could change it. Have you changed it?
So I picked a high elf druid, specifically, just high elf. And so I picked druid not because it's my favorite class, but because it's the most maneuverable. Because there's certain times where you're like, oh, you find a small hole in the ground. I can just turn into a cat and then explore that area, you know, and stuff like that. Or I can easily speak to animals, yada, yada, yada. And no, I haven't changed it at all. But when I do play with my friends, all three of us usually change our classes pretty regularly. Nice. Though my favorite is definitely sorcerer. I love spellcasting. But yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, well, just moving us forward, I think we got a couple movies that we've both watched recently. I, yesterday, again, at the time of us recording, finished Avatar, The Way of Water for the first time. Have you seen it?
I have. It's classic, for sure.
I'm so mad I didn't go see this in theaters. I'm so mad at myself.
That is an incredibly large missed opportunity.
Yeah,
how was seeing it in the home though? Did you like it? Was it pretty good?
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. I feel like it was a lot better than the first one, but to be fair, I haven't watched the first one in a very, very long time. I've always critiqued Avatar, at least the first one. Visually, it is stunning. One of the best looking CGI worlds created in any film. But story-wise, I just felt like the first one was pretty basic.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I feel like the second one had a kind of similar plot. It still was a little basic, but I just felt like it had a lot more heart to it than the first one did.
Yeah, I did definitely. With it being a little bit more quote-unquote family, like the main character now has a family. It felt like you had a lot more connection and reason to emphasize with these characters. I'm not sure if that's what you're meaning story-wise, but I was like, oh, this is a lot more interesting for me now because I kind of feel bad for these people. I connect a lot more.
Yeah, and I think there were I've got a couple critiques, like there's a big CGI battle at the end. It's Avatar, of course there's going to be. But like halfway through the battle, I think James Cameron forgot that the Na'vi had a whole army. Like the battle starts and there's literally hundreds of, well, maybe not that many, but there's a large number of Na'vi fighting these humans, and they have the big like whale thing, I can't remember its name. And then like there's just like a moment where they're all gone and it's just Jake and his family trying to like fight. Like there's this moment where Jake and his wife have to infiltrate the ship, and there's like, I don't know, maybe 20 guards, and there's so much suspense because it's like, oh, it's just Jake and his wife trying to save their kids against these 20 bad guys. But it's not. There's a whole army of Na'vi there. James Cameron, where did they go?
Where are the Na'vi? I need them.
Where are you? I'm trying to think. And then I felt like it was a little weird. There's just a couple other critiques, like Jake and his family left so that the rest of the tribe would be safe. That I get why they did it, but they just found them again at another tribe. But specifically on that, there's no explanation on how the bad general guy, Colonel, who gets turned into a Na'vi, like, he just knows that Jake isn't with the Force people anymore. There's no explanation for it. There's literally just a scene of, like, him and his guys out in the forest, and they're like, hey, no worries. Jake isn't with them anymore? That's fine. We'll find him. Who told you this?
I'm curious as to why they're pursuing Jake, because I thought the whole thing was that there was a large, like, mineral deposit or something underneath their life tree.
Right,
and that's what they were going for. And I guess...
Yeah.
Anywho.
Which, actually, thank you. I kind of forgot my whole reason why I was upset about, like, Jake leaving. Like, I thought originally the whole tribe was going to leave because it wasn't safe for them, because they were worried Spider would give up their location. That still could have happened. Like, Spider still could have given up the location.
Yeah.
And then Jake wouldn't be there. Jake and his family wouldn't be there to help fight against the human army when they did come to their floating rock home.
Yeah, like, Jake was made like the big chief, right? Like, he tamed the biggest of the winged creatures.
Yeah.
And
Did that die in the first one? Because it was not in this one.
I think the reason was that it was like, oh, it was wild, and once it helped Jake, it had to go back to the wild or something like that.
That's fair. Which, I know I've been kind of complaining. I did have a couple key moments, like I've mentioned, that I just felt like were kind of plot holes or just weren't thought about enough. But really, overall, this movie was amazing. The story was good. The CGI was amazing. James Cameron and his team literally had to invent new technology to, like, film these water scenes to make it look as realistic as it did, which I think is a big reason why it took so long between Avatar 1 and Avatar 2. This film is amazing, and you guys should definitely watch it if you haven't had a chance.
Oh, yes. No, honestly, all the things you've said, I did not catch in theaters, because I was still just like, this is crazy, everything looks so good. You know, so yeah, it definitely still watch it. It's definitely a movie that people should enjoy, because I feel like its main selling point is the visuals, and the story's still good to a sense. It definitely just has a few plot holes here and there. It's
secondary.
Yeah, it's like the story's there to kind of keep the viewer a little bit interested, but I just want to see the cool CGI.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've gotten already a teaser for the next one, so I don't think it's going to be quite as long. Yeah. Oh, dude, you should look it up. It's about the, like, mountain clan and whatever. One of the guys, he's, like, surrounded by fire, and he has a headpiece that's just a bunch of whatever their tentacle things are on their heads that lets them connect to their creatures. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the next major villain, because he's cut off other Na'vi tentacle things and made a headdress out of them.
Oh my goodness, that is vile.
Right?
that is definitely a villain move. Or maybe he's like, these are the whatevers of the people who tried to leave. You can't leave, Jake.
Jake, I love you. You have to stay here with me, Pookie Bear.
If that's the plot of the movie, I will have no complaints whatsoever. I would I'd start clapping. I'd be one of the movie clappers, like, oh, this story's great.
Let's go.
This is what I wanted.
But you watched a movie you haven't seen before this week as well, right?
Yes, I believe it's No Country for Old Men.
Nice.
It is, I think it's made in 2007. It's a movie I'd seen on Instagram. I'd seen a few clips of it, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. So I put it in my Letterboxd watch list of things to watch. And I watched it yesterday. And, man, I loved it. That movie, it's won a ton of awards, I hear. Definitely deserved them. It was so good. I had like a 40-minute long conversation with somebody about it after I watched it. It's
nice.
As a film, it fills its job as a thought-provoking. Or for me, it was kind of like a thought experiment almost. Have you seen it yet?
No, I was actually sorry. That's why I was looking at my phone. I was bringing up just some images so I could look through. I've seen clips of it, but I have not watched the whole thing. but I've heard really good things about it.
It's amazing. I love the scene. So it's no wonder it's so iconic. The scene where he's like, "How much have you ever lost on a coin toss?" It's so good. It's
Nice.
one thing. I don't want to get too heavily into the story because I don't understand it super well.
Yeah, might need another watch through to really
Yeah.
soak it all in for sure.
But the only thing I'll say about the story real quick is that I think what the film is trying to say from my first watch through without any understanding of the director and how he portrays his message, any stuff like that, I feel like it's discussing the matter of principles because the villain never loses.
Interesting. Okay.
Mild spoiler warning. But yeah, the villain never dies or loses. And it's because the villain has his principles straight. And it's about our choices and how they're affected by our principles. And there's this great line about, I think where he says, if your principles led you here to this situation where you're going to die, what was the point of having them in the first place? So it was very interesting. It was very thought-provoking. Yeah. What I truly loved about this film, what really stood out to me, was the lack of music.
Really? There's no soundtrack or a very minimal soundtrack?
Extremely minimal soundtrack. I think I only heard music while there was the transition scenes, basically, from transitioning from one scene to another. Maybe there was some music, but in those suspenseful moments, usually in films, they have to add over this spooky track or the high-pitched whirring of something. So you're like, I'm on edge. It's spooking me. There was none of that. And I had never felt more on the edge of my seat. It was so well done. So suspenseful without using music, just through camera placement and lighting and letting the audience know certain things but not knowing others. Oh, so good. I loved it so much. I was just, this is an amazing feat.
Yeah, I will definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, get ready to be on the edge of your seat because characters just die so out of nowhere. No one's safe. You know things can go wrong at any time. It's so
nice. Good. Yeah, that's a great place to be in a film.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to say about it?
Definitely give it a watch. It's got some pretty bloody and uncomfortable scenes, but other than that, it's amazing. Definitely a must watch. It's a very, very thought-provoking.
Nice. Besides Baldur's Gate and No Country for Old Men, have you been watching or doing anything else this week?
I've been watching more Frieren, which the animation, stellar as always. But what's been really, really influential in my life-changing, Jujitsu Shenanigans on Roblox.
Yes, this is what you were showing us, right?
Yeah, it was a Jujutsu Kaisen fighter game. Oh, I love it. That game brings me so much joy. You can play as Megumi, Hikari, Gojo, Sukuna, Yuji, Mahito. So many characters.
Can you hit him with the Makaraga, help! Help me!
Help me! You can, sort of. Sadly, you can't scream Maharaga help, but you can summon Maharaga.
Nice.
The combos go crazy. It has destructive buildings so that whenever you hit hard into a building, it actually breaks. Makes for some really cool fight stuff. Oh, the game's so good. I'll ramble on that for the next 3 hours.
Nice. Well, good. I'm glad you're having fun.
Thank you.
You said this is on Roblox?
Yes, dear listener. Go play Jujitsu Shenanigans for 10 minutes. It's gonna suck for a lot of it because people are gonna be way better than you. But once you get past that learning curve and you start comboing people, oh, it's so satisfying.
It's not fun when I'm not comboing. And it is fun when I'm comboing.
You're going to be sitting there screaming how did he hit me? It's stun locking. It's jab locking. It's
the same way with this new Fortnite season. It's not fun when my opponent has the jetpack and the autocannon and the rocket launcher and Captain America's shield all at once. But it's fun when I got it.
The game's only a good time whenever I'm the one with the overpowered items.
As long as I'm having a good time, that's all that matters.
Makes me feel so much better when the other person's having a bad time. That's where I excel.
Real. Okay, so for me, haven't played much Doom since last week. Played a little bit. I think I maybe beat 1 or 2 more levels. Mostly just been playing Fortnite, honestly.
That's fair, honestly.
Warbreaker update, though. I've officially passed halfway through the book. I'm really enjoying it. You've finished Warbreaker, right?
I have.
Okay. You don't have to tell me if I'm right or not. I'm just making a wild prediction. I think the whole point of this novel is Vivenna and Ciri stopping the war. That is the quote-unquote war breaker, is them... Like, that's why there's only one book, is because the war never actually happens, that they're going to find a way to stop it.
Interesting theory.
That is my theory.
I like it. I think that's a good theory.
I'm starting to get a little worried, though, because I know Vivenna and... What's his name?
Vasher.
I know that they meet up at one point, and they start training together. And I'm, like I said, I'm over halfway through the book, and that hasn't happened yet.
Where is Vivenna at right now?
Where I'm reading, so I'm trying to keep this a little more spoiler-free, but her and the group she's with, they were in a meeting with some other people, and it got raided by the Lifeless.
I see. Yes. Some really tragic things. All I'm going to say is some really bad things happen to some characters. And some of those characters have to make some really, really tough decisions.
Oof.
And after those tough decisions are made, Vasher and Vivenna start training together.
Gotcha.
It's really cool. You'll see. It's very good. Very well done.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like I'm right on the cusp of the Sanderlanche.
It's what I'll say is that there's a little mini Sanderlanche.
Okay.
In the middle of this book, things just start happening. You're like, what is going on? I don't know what's happening right now.
Kind of like in Oathbringer, maybe, where there's the whole scene in the castle where it like feels like it should be the end of the book, but it's only halfway through.
Exactly. Something's gonna happen where you're like, what is going on? The whole story is just changing before my eyes.
Dang. All right, Brandy Sandy, I see you.
And sadly, not in a good way. It's very heartbreaking. Tears will be shed, but that's okay.
I will keep you guys updated, audience. Next week, I will probably be done and will be into Mistborn at that point. Yes. I'll let you know what I think.
And I should be into Act 2 of Baldur's Gate. And I'm sure I'll have some... I hear that's where the story gets really good.
It's really good, yeah.
So I'm sure I'll have some more stuff to say about that as well.
Hell yeah. Okay, I think that's all for this episode, unless you had anything else you wanted to talk about.
I don't think so. I was trying to remember the line from... It's a super famous line from Jim Carrey. I forget what movie it's from.
From The Truman Show?
Yeah, it's like, and if I don't see you, good morning, good night, blah, 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 blah. But I couldn't think of it. Think of that, dear viewer.
Next time. Yeah. Go watch The
listener.
Truman Show.
Yeah, go watch The Truman Show.
We'll throw that one in there, too.
You are in The Truman Show.
This has been Nerds Only. Goodbye.
Goodbye.